I present to you Kathleen Kirk.
Thank you. Thank you, Joanna. Thank you so much. All right, I think my mic is on. Good evening, everybody. I am delighted to be here, and I want to thank Camille, and I want to thank, of course, the Westcotts. On behalf of all of us, you give us the most generous gift to provide all of this for us, to provide the forum, provide the dinner, the funding, and all you do, the effort that it takes to put this on. So thank you to you. When you stand in front of an audience and you look out like this, I'm not kidding. It looks like it is a room full of presents. I see people I know. You're all beautifully wrapped, individually, just all beaming out there. And it's so exciting to stand on this side and look out. So I was walking through the line before, just saying hi to some people and meeting some new ones. And I just was so excited to interact with you. So one of my hopes is that you will ask questions and you will have feedback or scenarios, things that you often get stuck with. So that's you. Now for me, I am not an expert. I'm not an excellent expert communicator, and I'm not an expert, I can't think of too much except maybe enjoying eating or something like that. I am a student, just like you are. This is a lifelong learning. It's something we all have to practice. It's ongoing, because we human beings are very reactive. One of the main goals of the Salon series is to increase knowledge and to inspire conversation. So it's kind of funny, but we're going to talk about talking. And when we think of civil discourse, we're looking for a way to speak respectfully to each other and hopefully entertain each other and come up with some solutions for some pressing problems. I'm going to ask all of you to stand for a moment. Sorry if you're eating. If you would stand and just hold the arm of the person next to you. Grab their forearm. If there's no one next to you, reach around. All right, you've got a good hold. Last year, a family went swimming off the coast of Florida. They got carried out to sea by a strong riptide. They were exhausted trying to get back in. They were drowning. And I saw the most beautiful thing that made me cry. People walking on the beach stopped. They saw these people drowning. And they formed a human chain by holding and reaching arms out just as you are. They connected to make a bridge out to these people to provide a safe transport back to shore. If you haven't seen the images, I suggest you go on and look. It is absolutely beautiful to see the connection. Now, not only did they risk their lives, everybody was risking their lives. Because if I couldn't count on you to hold on to me because you got scared, I was going to go down and possibly get carried out. Do you think anyone joining the rescue yelled out, "Who did you vote for?" You may sit. Thank you. Nobody stopped to ask. Next to them, are you anti-immigration? Are you pro-abortion? They acted quickly. They jumped to do this. So this is just one example. If you look to nature, it provides plenty of examples of how we are to connect. If you think of the redwoods in Northern California, they're hundreds of years old, standing super, super tall. But here's what keeps them strong. Underneath, the roots are interconnected, connected. They are helping each other under there to stand tall and to stay up. If one needs water, it can literally go into the roots of the one next to it, and it's gladly given. If it needs nitrogen, they pass through to each other. That's how strong that connection is. Even if you think of gems, now we have the gem show coming. Think of the beautiful gems and crystals. They come together, they connect in an amazing pattern, a mathematical pattern. and form something beautiful in very difficult situations. They are under the earth, in the dark, in the mud, everything, forces moving. Beautiful things happen when we connect to each other. So what is this about us as humans? What is that piece of us that says, I'm going to run in the water for these strangers and risk my life? I don't even know them. I don't even know if I like them. What is it about us? I believe, and this gives me tremendous hope, we have a place in us here. I don't know where it is, but it's somewhere in here. A soulful place, a loving place. We all have it. It's there, it's available, and we have to keep going back to it. Yet, we disconnect. We start a conversation, and just because I don't like what you said, I immediately am, totally disconnect from you. Now I'm even going to avoid you. I didn't know you believed that, Kate. I don't really want to hang out with you anymore. All right? So what happens? What are the topics? I'm opening that up to you right now. What are the topics you struggle with? We have mics available if anyone needs it. Go ahead. What? Who said religion? What makes religion so hard to discuss? Somebody?
Everybody wants to be right, and they want the corner on the street.
Okay, we're going to get to this. Yes.
Intolerance.
Intolerance. What's intolerance about?
Oh.
Think fear. What other topics are we either avoiding or struggling with? What happens? Somebody? What about politics? Raise your hand.
Refusing to see other people's point of view.
Uh-huh.
They're fixed on their own point of view without a discussion,
Yes.
a calm discussion. It's always about emotions.
Okay, that's great. Somebody else. Where do you get stuck? So what we're going to do tonight is think about if this is so difficult for us, because I get calls all the time. Kathleen, my family's fighting. I can't talk to my neighbor. This is what happened. But we all get stuck. So why bother? A lot of you don't bother. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I get stuck when people aren't interested in the facts,
Okay?
that they're just interested in opinions.
Absolutely. And you hit a point that I'm going to further discuss. When we believe something is true, if it's true, it has to be a fact, not an opinion. So, very good. Thank you. So why do we want to bother? If we end up all frustrated and all angry and disconnecting with people, why bother? One is we need everybody's voice. We've got some huge problems to solve in this world. We are all on the same team. We all need to connect. So we need your voice. So if you are avoiding important discussions, you're not contributing. You're hanging back. Now, we know we're allowed to vote, but not everybody does that either. But we need to go in with an open mind. One of the best things we can get out of opening up discussion with each other is learning, a love of learning. Social psychologists did a really big study, and some of them looked at like 6 attributes, 12 attributes, 24 attributes of what makes a person well and have a long, happy, engaging life. The top 2 out of the 24 were a love of learning and gratitude. If you concentrate on those 2, they can predict you are going to be actively involved in life. Now, knowledge, love of learning, knowing does not equal doing. We all know we shouldn't smoke or we shouldn't eat the whole bag of Cheetos, but we do, right? So, the other piece of love of learning is I want to pose that having civil discussions is a journey of personal development. It's a way to become self-aware. Who and how do I become when things get tough? It's not about you don't want to listen to me. It's like I'm losing it too. So this is where the opportunity is. We can learn about ourselves. We're living in this time of selfies. I'm always seeing people, I can't help it. When I see a selfie stick, that just cracks me up. Here I am again, and watch, here I am now. But we don't do this about looking at ourselves in the way we act, especially when things are difficult. So again, this is a time to increase your social emotional IQ. You can actually learn how to skillfully navigate difficult situations. So going on from here, we're going to talk about what are the basics of communication. If you think about learning the basics, we already just talk all the time, right? Back and forth. But when things get difficult, we want to make sure we're back to the basics, learning the fundamentals. If you think, even athletes, the best pro athletes have what? Coaches. They have coaches. They go and they say, I need to work on the basics. If you're a tennis player, you go and you work on your footwork. If you're a basketball player, even the best pros, they're still practicing, and the coach is saying, no, would you hold your left shoulder? Practice, practice, practice. We are students here. The goal of communication. Ready? The goal of communication is to understand, not convince. Got it? This is the key, to understand the other person and what they're saying, not to convince them they are wrong. So I'll give you a funny little example. Would you please be my...
Oh, fine. I should have said fine.
This is a dear friend, Kate. So if I'm talking and we start to have a struggle, I throw out a line and I might make a statement like, Kate, I can't believe you voted for so-and-so. And you can say back,
What the heck? Who cares what you think?
and we wow, you got to that pretty quickly. We didn't even rehearse. That's a good friend, honest. Before you know it, we're in a tug of war. And I am going to be really happy to pull her over. And we can struggle and struggle back and forth. We'll probably tire ourselves out, but I want to make sure I win and she loses. So I'm going to bring up facts, I'm going to bring up opinions, I'm going to bring up somebody else and what they think, and we're going to continue to struggle. The way to end a tug of war is simply to give some slack and come in and attempt to connect. If I just drop the rope and go, I've avoided, I miss the opportunity to connect. So this is where the power of the pause comes in. I have to learn, we have to learn, how do I gentle down? Because I'm feeling it rise. We all have issues we're sensitive about or we feel really strongly about. We get emotional. We get a reaction. We're really reactive. There's a big difference between having a reaction and a response. A reaction is really quick. If you said to me, I don't know why you wore white tonight, my reaction might be, well, I remember asking you. or it's, I can get really reactive. But if I pause and gentle down, I can take a moment to be self-aware, and I can give a response. Thanks for noticing. I'm not interested in a debate right now because my goal is always to understand and to connect, to go back to that loving place. That's really the hope. Now, to break down communication, really simple, we're back to the fundamentals. We have a messenger. The purpose is to give you a message, to make a statement, to give you some sort of information, like your hair's on fire. That would be a very simple message. Okay? The purpose of the message or the goal should be, it should be clear and it should be concise. If you put off a lot of big words, you may have lost the message. They're not going to get it. If you're not concise, you've overwhelmed the listener. We can talk faster than we can listen and understand. And if it's not concise, we blah, 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 and then for another point, and then you know what else happened. You've lost the listener. So short is better. Now, on your handout, I put a formula on there. If you're a messenger, this is something that you can follow. Some of you are familiar with it because I know you, and we've been together. The formula for the messenger is think. It's an acronym. If we follow this acronym and we practice this, the world is going to be really quiet. Because most of the things we say will not meet the criteria. And if you think about it, when we talk, we put off CO2. We are polluting the air by blah, blah, blah. Right? So let's be green, and let's shorten up, and let's follow the formula. So if you look at it, the T stands for, is what I'm going to say true? Try this at home. If any of you still have kids at home, you're not going to be able to say too much. You're never going to graduate. You don't study. I don't know how you'll get into college. Is it true? No, it's the future. We can't know that. No one will ever marry you. You're a pig. I hear this even when people come to see me, families. The kid will say, yeah, well, my mother said no one will ever marry me because I'm a pig. I can't clean my room. And I go, oh, really? Is that true? Huh. She must have a crystal ball. All right? So the first thing is what I'm going to say true. Or, thank you, is it an opinion? Most of the time, it's an opinion. So just asking yourself that first question, is what I'm going to say true, may stop you immediately. It's much easier to do this if you're doing texting or posting, because then you can go, whoa, wait a minute. Suddenly, you're not going to have too much to type, especially when you're irritated because you read a post saying, rah, rah, Hillary, rah, rah, Donald, whatever it is. And you go, oh, yeah. Slow down. So is what I'm going to say true? The next thing, is what I'm going to say helpful? So let's say your friend comes out, she decides to do her hair in 3 colors. It's blue, it's purple, it's yellow. And she says, what do you think? Well, the first thing that came to my mind was hideous. That's a feast for my eyes. I don't even know where to go with it. But is that helpful? The next line, is it inspiring to say something like that? No. If it's a good friend, I might make a joke like, not sure what look you were going for, but you kind of missed the mark, I think. Or, wow, you're colorful. I might come up with something. The next one, is it necessary for me to say anything? Many times, no. But we go on. We start giving an opinion. We tend to give advice. I don't remember asking you what you think I should do for such and such. Advice giving, no, unless they ask. Do you have ideas? We can also say, would you like some suggestions? I'm familiar with that. Would you like some suggestions? But if you're talking at somebody in advice giving, you're on the wrong track. You're going to overwhelm them. And you might actually really offend somebody. The last one goes back to that loving place inside of us. Can I do it with kindness? Is it kind for me to say, oh gosh, you look awful this evening, what happened? I've had that said to me. Have ever any of you? I've had someone come up to me and say, oh my God, have you been sick? You look tired, and just like, and you think, you know, you're walking in, you're feeling all good about yourself, and oh, you look so tired. So then I have to again, because I can be reactive, I think you've noticed, instead of going, well, you don't look so hot yourself, or you're no oil painting. Instead, I have to gentle down and say, well, I'm so glad I don't feel tired. We can come up with something, but it takes practice, ongoing practice to do this. All right? So there's the think formula. You're going to need to keep looking at it. You might want to post it right near your laptop or your computer, or before your spouse comes in the door. And it's going to be pretty quiet, and you'll end up going, hi. And he's going to say, oh, cute, what have you been up to? Because instead of saying, you never took the garbage out, that's not very kind to greet someone when they're coming in the door. This is what kids complain about all the time. All my parents do is boss me around. Did you do your homework? How come you didn't put the dishes away? Ah, bark, bark, bark. And then the parents will say to me, I can't get her to talk. And they come to me, the teenagers, and I love teenagers. It's a very odd thing about me, but I love teenagers. And the parents will call and say, she won't talk to us. I don't know if it's even worth bringing her in because she won't talk. And I'll say, you know, I've never had that happen. Because all I have to do is say, tell me about that mother of yours. And they don't stop. And for another thing, I think she's bipolar. Oh, and my father might be too. So they will entertain you. Now, let's go to the other role. So that's the messenger. The other main role, of course, is the listener. The listener also has a very difficult job. It's hard to hear what the message is, because what happens is we fall into judgment really quickly. I don't like that tone she's talking to me. Not this again. What a jerk. Very quickly we fall into it if someone brings up a topic we don't like. Now, I'm lucky that I grew up in the New York City area. And when you grow up there, you learn very quickly just how many insults you can hurl at somebody. We learn the nuance between what's an idiot, a jerk, an imbecile, and a moron. Where the West seems to be a little bit nicer. And I go, well, I don't know if I agree with that. But in New York, it's just the way it's done. And I gave you the really gentle G version. Because you can see a sweet little granny and say something to her, and the F-bombs come. And it's like, whoa. So now, as a listener, your job, you are looking to understand the message and the emotion behind it. Because when people get mad and they go on a rant, if you pick up, they're scared. And if you speak to that point, they will gentle down and you will start to connect. So listening is actually a gift. It's a gift we give each other to patiently try to understand. Remember, you always have a choice of whether you want to listen or not. Isn't that wonderful? You can decide, wow, that's pretty interesting. Really, I didn't know you thought that, Jane. Tell me more about that because I don't know much about it. Or I might immediately feel like, So if I'm a yes, I'm going to keep the conversation going and I'm going to do my best to listen. I'm going to aim to understand what you're telling me until it becomes a no. I've had enough. There are times that we walk into a party and we are willing to talk about anything. And there are other times someone will come in and say, oh, did you see the news? And I think, I'm not in the mood. And that's when women, we need to learn to speak up. Too many times we tolerate things we really don't want to hear because we think we're supposed to be nice. But here it is. Be nice to yourself. Because if you're taking in a bunch of garbage, I tend to tell myself, uh-oh, they're blowing smoke at me. This is not good for my health. I don't like the way I feel when you smoke at me. So then we have to speak up. And I like to rehearse lines, and some of you have been in groups. We know we practice some of these lines. If someone makes an insult about a race or a religion or a whole country, many times I'll just say, whoa, I'm really uncomfortable with that remark. And if they continue, it's okay to do whatever you need to do. You can leave physically and say, you know what, sorry, tired, cranky, not in the mood. I'm going to say goodnight early. You may leave physically. You may leave mentally. And here are some fun ways to leave mentally. This is the part I love. Some of you know how silly a lot of us can be. So if you get stuck and somebody's going on and on, you have lots of choices. You can go to an expression. If somebody throws out a remark and you don't know what to say, the power of the pause will save you. You can even just go like this. Oh. Just exhale, because if you're exhaling, you can't speak. It will save you. It's free, it's available all the time, everywhere. Okay? So, one thing you can do is have a phrase ready. I'm uncomfortable with that remark. Or please, I really don't want to hear you speak out about a religion or a race or in that manner. If you'd like to open up a discussion, great. Sometimes people yell at you. They don't even realize they're yelling. I had a man, and his face just looked like it was like getting bigger, like the moon, like coming at me. It was like, ah, how am I going to get out of here? I was backed up like this, and he's talking to us. And another thing, I finally said, do you know what? I can't listen when you yell. I think I'd be willing to listen, but I don't listen well when you yell. And he said, I didn't think I was yelling. Or, excuse me, I'm going to use the ladies' room. Do what you need to do to take care of yourself. If you stay listening, I guarantee you when you leave, you're going to complain to lots of other people. You thought you were being nice. Is it nice to complain about them afterwards? Not at all. I know I do it. We all do it. Correct? Until we learn to protect ourselves by having some techniques. So memorizing a phrase can be extremely useful. If this was a 3-hour workshop, I'd give you a whole list of them, and you can practice 1 or 2. But we're not doing that this evening, unless the Westcotts want to put us up. Other things you can do. 1 word. 1 word. For example, someone want to throw out a remark, make a statement? Anybody? Sorry? Sorry? Black is green. So she wants to prove a point that black really is green. And I can have 1-word answer and say, maybe. Really? Or perhaps. Tell me more. Most of us, she's throwing out the bait. Most of us will grab and go, what are you out of your mind? What are you thinking? What? Would it be, don't give me this new age thinking that black is green and orange is blah, blah, blah. But I'm not going to take the bait. Perhaps you're right. Maybe. Now, the other fun thing to do is to use your face and your body. I love doing the face stuff. Somebody makes a remark. We've got these unbelievable, malleable faces that can do so many incredible things. So be careful about getting too many injections or something, or your eyebrows won't move. And you want to have a look of horror, and you're going, so you want to make sure everything moves, right? So think about it. Somebody can make a remark, and I've been in many situations as you have, and I think, oh my gosh, I don't know what to say. And I'll just go, or There's lots of things we can do with this face. If you really want to have fun then, and somebody's going on, and you're thinking of a way to get out of it, this is one of my favorites. So don't share it with everybody, because then everyone will be doing it. But start flaring your nose. Without saying a word. Almost always, someone will go, what are you doing? You will totally distract them, interrupt them, without being too rude, And then you can have a fun response ready. Oh, nose yoga. It calms me when I listen. Or I get a tick when someone talks loudly. Whatever you want to say. Or what? What's wrong with my nose? It calms you. Laughter will always calm us down. Another thing you can do is just keep raising your eyebrows. And after a while, they'll be doing this. Or if I stare right in between your forehead as you're talking, people start moving their head to try to meet your eyes again. These are all really simple, effective, free things that we can do. Because remember, we are working on ourselves. It's a journey of self-awareness. Who and how I become. This isn't about you. And if you bring up a topic or say something I don't like, it's not for me to blame you for bringing it up. The responsibility is on me and how I want to respond. So again, gentling down and pausing.